I watched a lot of cartoons back in the day, and among them was Looney Tunes. That slapstick humor, the funny, witty characters. But among them that stood out to me was none other than Bugs Bunny. What I always loved about Bugs Bunny is that he's witty, sarcastic, clever at outsmarting others most of the time, and keeps a level head. He had more of a personality than the cardboard box that is Mickey Mouse. And when I saw that he had a video game for the Super NES at a video store, I just had to rent it. Now this wasn't the first video game featuring Bugs Bunny that I played, oh no. That honor has to go to the masterpiece that was Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout. I'm saying that sarcastically. Except this one is made by Sunsoft, who made a string of Looney Tune games during the year of 1993. I played a few of them like Roadrunner Death Valley Rally, and I couldn't get past the first level, so that's saying something. Then I rented Duck Dodgers and it was okay. It was pretty difficult though, but naturally being a Bugs fan, this was more up my alley. Two recent Bugs Bunny cartoons I watched was called Hairless Wolf, where this wolf tries to chase Bugs throughout the entire short, but he keeps forgetting what he was chasing. And there was like a comment somewhere where they said the wolf may have gotten dementia from when his wife hit him with a frying pan or a pot or whatever it was. And another one I saw was called Have Fair Hair, where Bugs aborted on this train where two guys are like really starving and they try to chase and eat him throughout the entire short. But anyway, I can go on and on and on about Bugs Bunny, but I have a game to review, so let's get into it. Ah yes, that theme song of What's Up Doc playing. Just listen to it. Now control wise, Bugs can only walk. He's not fast in the slightest, but he feels fine. And he can jump very high, which also feels good. The only problem that I might have with his jumping mechanics is that it can be very hard to get him to land on smaller ledges, or at times he can overshoot platforms. There's a move that the game doesn't tell you during the demo tutorial, where if Bugs is in the air, you can get him to land with his butt by pressing either X or Y. It's mostly used for landing on enemies and bosses, but you can also use it to land on platforms and edges safely. Sometimes. For his basic moves, he can jump and he can duck. If Bugs is standing over a rabbit hole, you can duck down, press a button, and he'll drop down to secret areas where he can find hidden items or alternate paths. And for his attacks, he can kick or throw pies, the latter of which he can duck down and do as well. He also has this spin fist move that you can perform by pressing both the X and Y button. Real talk, I forget this move even exists. It's kinda like a special move in video games, but if you remember old video games, whenever you use a special move, it takes a piece of your health. And I don't like doing that, so I don't even bother. The big carrot on the screen is Bugs' health bar. Naturally, if you're losing health, you collect carrots to replenish it. On the top right of your screen is your inventory pool. Bugs Bunny's Rabbit Rampage definitely doesn't disappoint in the presentation department. Look at the animation, it animates real well for a game on the Super Nintendo. The amount of frames Bugs is given for his actions, from walking, jumping, throwing pies, and especially kicking, there may not be a lot of frames for his enemies, but it's serviceable enough in one beautiful package. Graphically it looks great and definitely takes advantage of what 2D sprites can do on a Super Nintendo. The level locales are definitely ripped from those classic Bugs Bunny cartoons, and that puts a smile on my face. And all the enemies you face are from different periods of Bugs' career. A lot of licensed games back in the day were just known for being nothing more than just licensed games, but the developers of this game definitely did their homework in making it feel like a classic Looney Tunes experience. Which also goes for the music, and let me tell you, this is one of the few soundtracks that I can think of off the top of my head where I love every single track in this game and I can listen to any of them. There's not a single track of this game that I dislike. In video games, people will often say that they have a favorite soundtrack, and I have many, but even then, there's some tracks in that game that won't appeal to you much. And maybe it's because it's a short game, but still, all 10 levels and even the smaller tracks leave an impression on me. It sounds straight up like Looney Tunes and 16-bit melodies, and it's just done so well. Folks, I encourage you, when you get a chance, go and listen to the Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage soundtrack on YouTube, and then comment down below and tell me what are some of your favorite music from the game. Which levels do you think sound the best? And what did you think of the soundtrack overall? And I love how whenever the track loops, at some point the melody changes. The first stage is a snow level, must be wabbit season. Here you'll deal with hunting dogs, a pesky red one that sneaks up and tries to punch you, and a brown one always on legs that points the bullets at you. And those bullets can be annoying, so I try to make sure I don't give the dog the chance. You also have those polite, goofy gophers who appear on top of the tree being anything but polite. Why are these guys enemies? I've never seen them in a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You'll spend a majority of the level ducking yourself underground collecting items and discovering secret areas. At the end of the level, you face against Elmer Fudd. The battle isn't hard, just that his bullets fly all over the place and I usually get hit. Just keep attacking him and try to avoid the bullets as much as possible. The next level takes place in a western saloon with some catchy music. Bugs has been in a lot of western cartoons come to think of it. Cowboys, Indians, and dickhead bartenders sliding drinks at you make this level a bit annoying at times, but it's still fun to go through. It's a pretty straightforward stage compared to the first one. Usually I like to go to the top path because there's a lot more that's going on, like more enemies and stuff to collect, whereas with the bottom paths behind the curtains, there's usually pits that you can go across, but I haven't played the game in a long time to test my old skills. I'm pretty rusty at the game. I like the items of this level. You can slip targets below enemies so an anvil can fall on their heads, good old classic Looney Tunes style. I really love it when a licensed game captures the spirit of its source material. But I love at the end where Bugs' eyes enlarge saying "Yeep" as he's about to face off against Nasty Canasty, that's his name, who was actually in a Bugs cartoon or two but appears as he did in a Daffy short, Drip Along Daffy. And like Elmer, his bullets make it annoying to get to this fool. Also, why does he have bullets that have mustaches on them? I guess for personality's sakes? But unlike Elmer, you just have to bounce on this fool's head, which makes it a bit harder because he has more bullets than Elmer. By the way, a cool little detail is that whenever you die to a boss, it'll still save your progression on how many times you've hit the boss, so you won't have to fight him all over again. So say you died before you had like 1 or 2 more hits on Canasty, you'll leave off with those last 2 hits and then he's dead. Level 3 is based on a very popular short that everyone and their dead grandma grew up with, Bully for Bugs. I knew he should have taken a left turn to Albuquerque. Why do you keep doing that, Bugs? Throughout this stage, you'll deal with the bull jumping over him, ducking in holes to collect anvils, and tricking him into smashing into signs and the anvils you get. What's really cool is that the audience is a vast amount of toons watching you, one being the canceled Pepe Le Pew who's rooting for the bull. That's why you're gone. The 4th stage, I'm not as fond of it. It's a dark forest full of fairy tale mayhem. Full of those annoying 3 little pigs with slingshots, the big bad wolf appearing 3 times blowing different material at you, spitting gingerbread, Hansel and Gretel's messy eating, and Witch Hazel turning you into the Michigan Frog. And this level has quite a number of pits. The annoying part is anything above you can hit you and knock you into the pit. The platforms on this level are quite small, so anything above can knock you off. A satisfying way to deal with those gingerbread dudes is spill some jam on the ground for them to get stuck on, then the screen humorously censors Bug chomping their heads off. That's payback, bitches. At the end, Yosemite Sam from 99 Bugs appears with a dragon where you oddly enough have to attack his red nose to damage him. Level 5 is the space level, and I'm now mostly mixed on this level compared to when I was a child. I love how the level looks. It looks just like a Looney Tunes space short. I love the different space vehicles you can ride on and enter on the inside. The passengers make it more lively. You got the green aliens from the space shorts, you can counter them with the mirrors, and you got the occasional Marvin the Martian appearing. But it's so easy to get lost. There's arrows that tell you where to go, but they're not always accurate. In fact, several times I followed them only to fall into my death. What? Dude, really? Dude! This level I feel is too open-ended for its own good. The music here is my favorite track in the game, however. It sounds like 16-bit space opera harmony that helps carry your place in the level so I don't get tired of being here. I only wanted to leave because I had the recording session to get to, so progression was needed for the review. Level 6 takes place in the jungle, where you have to avoid Taz. You're on these singular islands and you will have to trick him into falling off throughout. You also have to ride these green toucans to the next island, but they can only carry you for so long before losing momentum, and you'll have to jump on to the next one. Eventually, you'll need to trick him into tearing through trees and having coconuts fall on his head before Bugs does his cross-dressing fetish to his attention before Taz's wife gets mad and drags him away. Stage 7 takes place in a warehouse factory where you have to avoid so many traps like these annoying present wrapping machines that I easily fall in. Many of the robots here are such a pain where some of them even shock you randomly. Wile E. Coyote is this super genius behind them, and you just have to get him to fall and then bounce on his machine as he rises back up. Stage 8 is similar to Stage 3, except you face the Crusher. You know Bugs' special spin move? The developers of this game actually got it from the shore where the Crusher was in. Thought it was a nice little trivia. Just attack him when he's distracted with kicks, pies, or tomatoes, or spin into him by riding through the ring. You can even collect bells to ring to get his attention. Level 9 sucks. You're in this mansion full of black cats that plays up the whole black cats give you bad luck gag. There's so much stuff going on and so much falling debris like safes, horses, money bags. And if you cross paths with any of these black cats, falling ships could fall on you. You also have other obstacles like black clouds that shock you and they are so annoying. Sylvester randomly riding a train. So much shit. And as you go through the level, you'll have to go through these holes. The problem is you don't know if it leads to another pathway or into a pit. And speaking of pits, guess what you have to do? You have to cross more pits. You'll have to butt bounce balloons to get across. And this is where I probably died the most. The only cats you can deal with are the happy bouncy ones where you can throw paint on them for Pepe Le Pew to come and carry them away. You know, level 9 in general with black cats, it doesn't fit a Bugs Bunny themed level or any Bugs Bunny cartoon that I can remember. But you know, the level itself, it reminds me of that episode with Rocky and Muggsy. You know, where Bugs keeps tricking Rocky into thinking that Muggsy's gonna betray him. And Bugs has dealt with lots of mob bosses before, so why not have them as enemies and Rocky and Muggsy as like, you know, bosses or something? Just a thought. Alright, so we're at the final stretch, so who is the mad animator behind this madness? Oh. What's up, Duck? Well, he hates Bugs the most, so I guess it makes sense. The Duck-a-Muck situation must have led him to revenge or something. The trick to defeating Daffy is to destroy all the paint. Think about it. An artist needs the paint, and what's an artist without his paint supplies? While you're doing this, Daffy's alter egos will try to get in your way. Duck Dodgers, Robin Hood Daffy, and Drip-Along Daffy. Dodgers you can't kill, but you can stop him from shooting, which could one-hit KO you, so be careful. Individually, you'll need to defeat Robin Hood and Drip-Along Daffy and clear the paints in order to win the game. Robin Hood you'll definitely need to deal with, but if you haven't destroyed the paint yet, Drip-Along Daffy will come for you. Drip-Along has those annoying bullets you've seen earlier in the game, while Robin Hood is tricky to attack with his quarterstaff, but he's not telling us that. That was dark. Now this is just my opinion, but I find Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage a charming Super Nintendo platformer that stays true to the Looney Tunes feeling. It's not perfect by any means, and I can do without the random enemies dropping stuff from above where you can't see, the bottomless pits, and the BS that is level 9. But if you grew up with Looney Tunes like I have and you enjoy Bugs Bunny, I think this is a game that tries to be enjoyable. Graphically it looks great, and that music though, it's so good. Go listen to it and comment below which ones did you enjoy. I highly recommend playing it. Let me know your thoughts. You know, this game would be a 10 out of 10 if that wolf would have been in the game. Just saying.
Chipmunk, squirrel, possum.
Let me know when you find out.
Zebra? No. Orangutan? Hippopotamus? No, not a hippopotamus.
Well, good night, folks. We're running out of time.